Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am out here hiking this morning. Had a great conference yesterday. I would love to create the day with you. I am exploring. There's moss on rocks. There's cactus out here. I love God's world so much, and I love to explore. I feel so connected when I'm outside. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is boundaries versus barriers. And what do you do with drama? And how do you know? So this video is going to be a little bit rough because I can't stabilize the normal way. And my brain is busy exploring while we're talking. It's going to be fantastic. All right. So those of you who don't know me, welcome. My name is Ann Ferguson. I'm a mindset trainer. I am an author. I am a mom. I'm a grandma. Yesterday we did a whole lot of what I am. I am an adventurer. I am committed, absolutely committed to lifting up people and bringing hope into their lives. And, I know there's a lot of really happy people out there. And yet deep down inside, there's emotional loneliness. So I'm really committed to helping people actually find emotional connection, like true life-fulfilling connection. Ready? We're going to get into boundaries and barriers and what they are. First thing I want you to know is I want you to think of 5 rings, okay? It's kind of like a target. Let's think of a target. Okay, so inside the middle target, each ring equals different types of relationships. So inside the first one is you and God. So kind of think of this as almost like a fortress kind of thing. Okay, so you and God. Nobody gets to say what's going on between you and God except you and God. That's where prayer happens. That's the place where it's just you and Him. Yeah, there are other people who try to stick their little nose in and they go, hey, I'm God, listen to me. They're crossing that boundary line. I was talking about this to a teenager once. She goes, it's kind of like a castle. It's kind of like a keep. I said, ooh, tell me more about that. And she says, well, when there's a king, they have a keep. And no one's allowed. That's just for the king. And I go, I love that. So step 1 in relationships, for all other relationships, is to go into the keep. That is my space. Me and God, nobody else. Guess what? I don't get to be in anybody else's keep. You don't get to be in anybody else's keep. That's between them. Okay, the next outside ring is your closest, nearest and dearest. Now, I used to say family with this, but sometimes family's not close, guys. Sometimes they don't protect the keep. They don't protect you. They don't protect who you are in your divinity. So there's a thing that happens, right? Those who are nearest and dearest, who support me, who see me for who I am, all my faults, all my crazy, those are the ones that encircle the keep. Okay, outside of that is friends. You can totally have family inside that outer wall of the keep if they are safe. The next side is friends. Those are not associates. Those are the people when you got to get away from your family for a minute. You can just have somebody else who supports you, somebody else who holds your throw up bucket, if you will, somebody else who can love on you, who can have fun, right? Friends have fun. This get you out of your head, out of your stuff. I used to say, I don't need friends. We're going to go back to that in a second. The next ring is your associations. This is your church family. This is your work environments. This is your associations, right? That's the people that you need to be moving in and out of to make things happen. And the next is the world. World is people you don't know, people you're reaching, people you're having influence and impact on. Right now, I prayed in my teepee, and I have God right now with me. So when we get all fussy is when somebody crosses one of those rings that they're not actually supposed to be in. So for instance, have you ever had a friend who kind of interjects themselves into like the family keepers of the keep kind of place, you know? And you're like, like they think they're family. You've ever said that? They think they're family. Like they're crossing into places that it's like not okay. That is because they stepped over a boundary. Okay, when somebody else decides to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing and why. Now, friends, inner circle kind of people, they can advise all day long, and I love it. I love to get advice and help and understanding and what else do I need to know kind of stuff, right? And it's really important to have those people, but they are not my God. So if they get really mad that I did not do what they said, or they think they're God and they're trying to validate their goodness by my behavior, they just stepped over a boundary. They totally stepped over. People who are associations, like, you know, people in the church, people in your church congregation who have not been invited into friendship ring, and they're still in your associations, and all of a sudden they kind of encroach, or you do, right? There's a boundary line. You can ask permission to cross a boundary. Hey, I would love to join you guys. Is that all right? Bam. They say, yes, you are. You're there. Now what happens is when there's too much violation of those boundaries, there's something we do called a barrier. And that is, man, we slam up the walls. And it's like, thou shalt not pass. Walls go up. Don't let anybody in. It can happen in the world. It's like I'm too afraid to be out in the world and to tell people I'm going to throw up my walls. I have a boundary or a barrier. You say boundary, but it's really a barrier. We have it with associations. Those people who are around, we may have tried to put them in another ring. Like, I don't know, somebody else in your associations, you're trying to get validation like you would a God. Yeah. When somebody crosses over into that too much, we put up a barrier. What that looks like is we stop being at church, or we leave that association, and there's usually pain. Okay? Get a little closer. When a close, intimate friend in that inner ring steps outside of it, is not close anymore, causes a lot of pain and hurt, we throw up a barrier. It's called betrayal. There are some barriers that are appropriate. We end up feeling guilty. I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't do this. So that's usually because there's somebody who's trying to get into a space that they shouldn't be in, or they violated the trust of that boundary. And there's enough times that you just say you're not safe. This is where toxicity sits. You'll know who those people are, but I have seen too many people, when there's drama in some form, they throw up barriers and they don't sit in boundaries. It's totally okay to say, hey, you're not allowed in my keep. You're not my God. You don't get to tell me what to do. I'm gonna work this out with God. I'm gonna come out and let you know what's up. There are other people that absolutely will not support you in your boundaries. And barriers are important. I will tell you this. The way to know whether it's a safe barrier or not is to ask God. There have been a couple of times we can see in Scripture where God says, yep, let's do this. Let's get on out of Dodge. Right? The children of Israel, they left. There are other places where it's like, no, pick up and leave. Abraham, get out of it, right? Get out. If it's God-driven, you can be loving and have a boundary. You can be loving and even have a barrier. The loving part is, I am not willing to be beat up anymore, right? So, God can tell you when it's time to move. If you have unconditional love in your heart, that does not mean that you sit in a place where you're going to be beat up. What that means is you can have no ill will, and you can know that God in Christ can heal you of the wounds of inappropriate behavior. And you can say, I'm not choosing to play with you. I really do hope you figure it out, and I really do love you, and I really do say I don't want any ill will. What's fun is when one of those barriers, God has been doing a thing. He's been doing a thing, and he opens up all of this stuff for the other person, right? And he heals them, and then he goes, yo, I need you to drop the barrier. They're ready. And then it's safe. That's why the keep is so important. Because inside that keep, he can protect you. He can tell you exactly what to do. He can help you know when you've got to kind of push through and go, I know this one hurts, but this is a boundary that you need to step into and be okay with. You need to go to them and say, hey, let's actually set some boundaries so that you're in the right place in my life and work it out. And then there's others. He says, I need some time with my child. I need this relationship not to be around. You're precious. And you're getting hurt too much. They're precious. They're getting hurt too much because we humans hurt each other. So I hope that's helpful to you. If any of this feels like up here you're getting it, but down here you're like, I just don't know. I don't know how to do that. That's a really nice theory, Anne. I'm not like you. I don't have that relationship with God like you do. I hear that all the time. It's not true. It is. It is true. And what's not true is that I'm special. That's not true. I've needed him, and I can't do life without him because of some of the tragedy, yucky stuff that's happened in my life. If you're like, I don't know how to hear him. I don't know how to open up. You talk about joy, but I'm in that place of just that numbness. If you're there. If you are just in survival mode because all you can do is keep kids alive and you don't have any time for yourself. If you're really trying to step in to the things you know you should be doing because it's put into your heart that there's something bigger for you to do, but you keep getting in your own way. If you don't know what your mission is, what your purpose is on this earth, you're not sure. All of those places, Joyful Heart Mastery grabs. Not trauma. You're not trauma. You're just a normal human. Do you want to get closer? Do you want to find your divinity? In a really safe, really beautiful way. Do you want to find out? Do you want to have support and community while you do? When I talked about friends, I said I don't need friends. That was a lie. I used to make my children my friends because I didn't have any. I moved and I moved and I moved. And our relationships, I depended a little bit too much on them for my emotional support. I didn't know it. I thought that me just being dedicated to my family was the right thing to do. I didn't need friends. I was taking time away from them. I was abandoning them if I went and did friend things. And I found out I was not balanced. So incredible to have that particular circle, those friends around me was absolutely amazing. So if you don't know how to connect in authentic ways. Like you keep trying and people keep kind of walking away from you, or you're doing your very best and then they accuse you of things. All that drama stuff. If you've got a lot of drama in your life, you need Joyful Heart Mastery. In 3 months, we go through tools. We celebrate with each other. We figure out why things are happening. I give you skill sets that you practice all week, and we do it as a community. Okay, here's one thing people have asked me. I don't have time for a course. Okay, you have time for Joyful Heart Mastery. Let me tell you why. Because the only requirement for Joyful Heart Mastery is to show up to class. That is it. Just show up. There's no reading beforehand. There's no studying, or there's no preparing. And the rule, second rule, I guess there's 2 rules. Second rule is to show up in your 100%. I have taught people who were so rocked with stuff that they couldn't do anything but watch from their phone in their bed. I have busy moms who did at the soccer fields. I've taught men as they're driving their trucks. Just show up. Just show up. In 3 months, it's going to be different. You're going to feel whole. You're going to know what to do when the drama shows up. You're going to know how to enter that keep and have real connection with God. That's what will happen if you take a Joyful Heart Mastery class. If any of you here have taken a Joyful Heart Mastery class and it's been a little while and the skills and the tools are a little wonky, I invite you to do it again, because it's really just an experience. And the different people that gather, it adds to the experience. I would love you to join me. There are mentors, so many mentors that are just waiting for you, waiting to walk with you in the journey to joy. And joy, all that means is the magnification of every other good, beautiful emotion. Why do you need it? So you can create your day. You gotta have the good stuff. You gotta know how to do that. So I invite you in. Thanks for being here. If you love this, put a like on it. If you feel like it would help somebody else, please share. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. If you haven't created yet, get creating right now. See ya.